All right, folks, welcome back to the New Sentinel. Today we're diving into the aftershocks of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, Al-Biba, as everyone's calling it. Now, if you've been following the headlines, you know this thing moved at breakneck speed. I mean, we're talking from Trump's second inauguration in January to executive orders in February, and by July 4th, he's signing this monster into law. That's what, less than 6 months? It's like they were running a relay race, not passing legislation.
Yeah, Chukwuka, and the fallout was just as fast. I mean, you had mass layoffs, hiring freezes, agencies gutted overnight. The Department of Energy, Justice, even the Office of Personnel Management, all took heavy hits. I heard from a buddy at OPM, said it was like musical chairs, but the music never stopped, just pink slips and confusion.
That's right, Duke. And it wasn't just the big agencies. The DOJ lost over 60 ethics staff in a matter of weeks. Most of them just walked out, couldn't stomach defending some of these new policies, and with the hiring freeze extended, nobody's coming in to fill those gaps. Morale's in the basement, and service delivery's falling apart. It's like you break the machine, then wonder why it won't run.
Let me jump in here because I've got a story from my own circle. A lot of my veteran friends, guys who rely on the VA for mental health or housing, suddenly found their programs slashed. I'm talking overnight. The VFW and American Legion, they were out there protesting, which you don't see every day. These are folks who don't usually take to the streets, but when you cut their support, you're going to hear about it. There was so much confusion. Nobody knew if their benefits were safe or if the agency would even pick up the phone. It's chaos, plain and simple.
And it's not just veterans, Chukwuka. The ripple effects hit every corner of the federal workforce. Whistleblowers started coming forward, especially from the Department of Energy and Justice, saying they faced retaliation for speaking out. Oversight mechanisms were defunded, so there's no real accountability left. It's a hollowing out of government, and the people who depend on these services are left in the lurch.
Yeah, and you know, the Project 2025 blueprint, this was all by design. Over 300 roles shifted to political appointees. It's not just about efficiency, it's about control. And when you gut the agencies, you lose all that institutional memory. That's a big deal, especially in places like DOJ and DOE, where experience actually matters.
It's like we talked about in the Defense Surge episode. When you move this fast, you break things. Sometimes that's the point, but the collateral damage is real. And the legal chaos, that's just getting started.
Let's talk about education, because this is where the OBBA really hit home for millions of families. The Department of Education was basically cut in half, workforce slashed, $7 billion in grants frozen, and states left scrambling. Charter schools and private operators swooped in to fill the gap, but only in places that could afford it. Wealthier states like Texas and Florida set up their own state-run DOE equivalents, but poorer states, they were left behind, and that's where the lawsuits started flying.
Yeah, Olga, and you had this patchwork effect. Some states just couldn't keep up. I mean, you had parents in Mississippi and West Virginia literally crowdfunding to keep special needs programs running. That's not how it's supposed to work. And the curriculum wars, don't get me started. Some states dropped federal diversity and sex ed mandates overnight. It's like, one day you've got protections, the next day, poof, gone.
I actually reported on a case in Texas where a whole district lost its federal funding. Parents of disabled students were left with nothing, so they turned to GoFundMe just to pay for aids and therapies. It's heartbreaking. And then you've got legal battles over Title IX and protections for disabled students. The courts are flooded with cases, and nobody knows what the rules are anymore. It's a legal free-for-all, and the kids are the ones paying the price.
And let's not forget, the Supreme Court basically greenlit all this. They said the president could move ahead with mass layoffs even though Congress created the DOE. That's a big constitutional question. Can the executive just wipe out an agency like that? 24 states are suing, but in the meantime, Pell Grants are narrowed, student loan servicing is outsourced, and civil rights enforcement is in limbo. It's a mess, and it's not getting cleaned up anytime soon.
Yeah, and the right-leaning media is calling it a win over bureaucracy, but on the ground, it's just confusion. I mean, I get wanting to cut red tape, but when you freeze grants and lay off half the staff, you're not just trimming fat, you're cutting into bone, and that's going to leave scars for a long time.
It's like we said in the courts episode, these legal shifts have real-world consequences. And when you mess with education, you're messing with the future. That's not something you can just fix with a new law or a press release.
All right, let's get into immigration, because this is where things really went off the rails. ICE got a massive boost. Detention capacity doubled, new facilities like Alligator Alcatraz in Florida, and they started removing bond hearings. That means a lot of folks got deported without ever seeing a judge. It's fast track, no due process, and the numbers tripled almost overnight.
And the legal system just couldn't keep up. Immigration courts were already overloaded, but now, with bond hearings revoked and expedited removals, the backlog exploded. Legal aid groups and NGOs were swamped, and in some places, states just refused to cooperate. California, Illinois, New York, they expanded their sanctuary policies and basically told ICE to take a hike. That's federalism in action, but it's also chaos.
I've got a case study from Arizona that really sums this up. Local police were ordered to cooperate with ICE, but the sheriff's department pushed back, said it wasn't their job to enforce federal immigration law. It turned into a full-on standoff, with ICE threatening to cut off federal funding and the state threatening to sue. It's a jurisdictional mess and nobody's sure who's in charge. And the Supreme Court? They're hearing cases on whether ICE can even operate without state cooperation. It's a constitutional showdown, and the stakes couldn't be higher.
And let's not forget the human side. You've got families split up, people deported to third countries without hearings, and the UN warning the U.S. is violating international treaties. Civil rights groups are sounding the alarm, but with the courts so backed up, justice is slow, if it comes at all. It's like we talked about in the birthright citizenship episode. When you start pulling at the threads of due process, the whole system starts to unravel.
Exactly, Chukwuka. And the narrative fallout is everywhere. Viral videos of ICE raids, protests in the streets, and a growing sense that the rule of law is up for grabs. It's not just a policy debate anymore. It's a fight over what kind of country we want to be.
Well, that's about all the time we've got for today. The aftershocks of the ABBA are still rippling out, and we'll be tracking them in future episodes. Thanks for sticking with us through the chaos. Sentinel, Olga, Chukwuka, always a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks, Duke. This is one for the history books, and I got a feeling we're not done talking about it yet. Stay sharp, folks.
Thank you, everyone. Remember, behind every policy are real people. We'll keep following the stories that matter. Take care.
All right, that's it from us. Stay tuned, stay informed, and we'll catch you next time on The New Sentinel. Goodbye, everyone.